Jazz Guitar Conservatory. I'm John Paris, and today we'll be covering upper extension chords. So you may have seen these chords regularly if you've read through chord charts at all, even pop tunes, not necessarily jazz tunes. But you'll see a cycle of chords, and you'll see your standard minor chords, major chords, dominant chords, maybe even minor 7, major 7, etc. Half diminished, that is minor 7 flat 5. You probably run across those. You probably also run across 9s, 11s, 13s, and a lot of people have trouble with those and have a hard time trying to figure out just exactly what they are, how they operate, how to play them, and so on. So that's what we're covering today. First, let me explain what a 9 is versus a 2 or a 13 versus a 6. There is a difference. When you see a chord that is a major 9 or a minor 9, that means you've got a full 7th chord, that is, say we're talking major. From the bottom up, root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, all natural scale degrees. It means you have another note on top of that, a 9th. Now 9 is the same as 2. So in the key of C, if you have a major 9 chord, that means you've added a D on top of your major 7 chord. D being the same, 9 same as 2. C, D, 2nd degree. Alright, so why is 9 not called 2, and why is there a difference at all? When you write a chord with a 2 in it, it happens occasionally. There are more common examples, which I'll tell you about in a second, but you do occasionally see a 2. You regularly see 9s. What 2 means, if you have it within the initial octave, that is root or 1 through 7, if you see a chord that comes within those first 7 pitches, for example, C2 or E flat 2, that means you've omitted one of your regular 4 chord tones. Probably in this case the 3rd. You've gotten rid of your 3rd. So in the case of C major, you've gotten rid of the E, replaced it with D. When you see a 9 chord, far more common than seeing a 2 chord. That means it's beyond the initial octave, so you have 1, 3, 5, 7, and added on top of that a 5th pitch, the 9, the D up on top. So including your original 4 pitches, you've added 1 on top. Similarly, something that you do, however, see a lot more often is a 4 as opposed to 11. It's the same note. Again, in C, if you saw a chord that was a 4 chord, a suspended 4th is usually how it's called. That note would be F. That's 4 up from C, 1, 2, 3, 4, that gives you F. 4 is the same as 11. Really, you're just adding the octave's worth of degree numbers, 7 to 4, and that gives you 11. Same with 2 to 9, and later 6 to 13. What that means is, as I pointed out, if it's 4, that means it's within the first octave, so 4 means you've replaced a chord tone, one of your initial 4 chord tones, 1, 3, 5, or 7, and in this case you've replaced 3. So suspended 4, a great example is, you've seen, let's go back to triads, because this happens even in triads, D major. D major suspended 4th, I think we've all played that. It shows up in a zillion songs by The Who. I think Pinball Wizard is built on like 25 different suspended 4th chords. So you've gotten rid of the 3rd in your triad, and you call that suspended 4th. It's not 11. 11 means you have your first 4 chord tones in there already, and you're adding on top. It happens a lot in minor chords. So a minor 11 chord would be something like that, where you have all your chord tones and then an extra chord tone on top, the 4th/11. And for C, that would be F up on top. We only have, well, we've got 5 fingers, but we really, except for, Jimi Hendrix and people who like to loop their thumbs over the top, we really only have 4 fingers to work with. And sometimes we can use a bar chord and get more notes. But if you're talking about chords that have 5 distinct individual pitches, for example, a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, and then on top of that a 9 or a 13, or a 9 and a 13, you start having 6 pitches, you have to get rid of some pitches sometimes. You have to omit certain pitches, and the first one to go tends to be the 5th. The 5th is easily ejected because it doesn't really define the color of the chord or the character of the chord in the same way that a 3rd or a 7th does. You can get rid of the root too, depending on who you're playing with. If it's solo guitar and you're hoping to achieve solo guitar style chord changes, it's nice to have the root in there sometimes. If you're the only accompanist with a singer,